I love to use unusual tools in my art making, and this week I challenged myself to make a piece of textured abstract art using only this window cleaning squeegee. Will it be fun or frustrating? I really wasn't sure. For the texture today I'm using acrylic gesso. I'll leave links to my supplies in the description below. I started off by playing a bit, seeing how the gesso spread with the squeegee, how I could build up texture and make different marks using the tool in different ways. I started out with the idea that it would be an abstracted landscape, so I divided the canvas into land and sky with more texture in the bottom half up to the horizon line. For the first paint layer, I used homemade fluid acrylic paints. The paints were far harder to spread than I anticipated because the canvas bends under pressure and the squeegee wasn't quite flat either, so I couldn't get a smooth swipe with the squeegee. I'm just adding some more paint while I have a think about the spreading issue. Then I tried the other side of the squeegee and hooray, it spreads much more evenly. Now I'm working on the lower half. I'm using the tip of the squeegee to add lots of layers to the horizon line. I love how fluid paint instantly enhances the texture. That brown is so delicious. I let it dry on a slight tilt so that the green would melt into the sky, and this is the result of the first layer. Onto layer 2, and I'm adding some darkness and contrast to the lower part of the painting with some deep blue. This paint has about 50% opacity, so you can still see the brown colour coming through underneath. The darker contrast instantly makes the composition more interesting. One of my favourite techniques is laying the paint down, then scraping it away to reveal the texture and colours underneath, like this. It gives the painting so much depth. I'd already decided by now that I didn't like the blue sky, and I don't want this to be a landscape after all. But before I tackle that, I'm going to add some gold highlights to the horizon line. I'm using pouring medium as a glue, and it's also high gloss, so we'll make that section shiny. I'm using Pearl-Ex pigment powder in brilliant gold here. I'm using the squeegee to mix the powder in with the glue and spread it around, leaving the gold thicker and more opaque in some areas and thinner and more like a subtle veil in others. And then scraping a little bit down into the lower part to marry the sections together. For the top part, I want to make this section lighter and more subtle to contrast with the darker lower section. I'm using Deco Art's Festive Green, which is a transparent metallic paint. Then I'm adding a little bit of white to lighten it up. I'm mixing the colours together directly on the canvas here. And because the main focal point is the horizon line across the middle, I'm going to contrast that with vertical lines in this top section. This is still way too dark, but I'll lighten it up with a third layer once it's dry. And now that the gold is dry, I'm adding brown to make the yellowness a bit more grungy. And here's how it's looking after the second layer of paint. For the final layer, I'm adding a little bit more of the green, then a lot of a metallic pearly white colour, also by Deco Art. This should give this area a lighter glaze. For the final touch, I'm applying gilding glue to the squeegee to add some gold transfer foil. You have to let this glue dry and go tacky before placing the gold transfer leaf on. This is Pebio's mirror effect leaves. They come on a transfer sheet, which means you can handle them without gloves and not have to worry about tarnishing the gold leaf like you would on loose leaf sheets. So you place it over the glue and gently rub to transfer the gold onto the painting. I'll show you a close-up in just a minute. It's subtle but really catches the light. It was very weird not being able to use a brush or sponge like I usually would, but I think this turned out pretty well. What do you think? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon for another textured art tutorial. Happy creating!